And welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. Of course, I'm joined by George Szamuely, co-founder of the Gaggle. It's that time of the week everyone's been waiting. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to jump in with mine right away. My thumbs down. Obama Rama Drama, the second autobiography of Barack Hussein Obama. It's really quite. I've read excerpts. I haven't read the whole thing. I mean, I don't know if anyone will ever read the whole thing. Maybe you want to get in one of those audio versions, and they'll put it on YouTube for you, and you can do your washing up on listening to the former president. But I was just thinking, about the endless claims that that Trump is vain and he's an egomaniac and he's consumed by his own personality, which probably all true, but it's natural for him. That's the way he is. That's his DNA. He's just that way. But when you oppose him to Obama, Obama's is completely fake and it's completely constructed, as if he is a revered figure. But this is a media construct that is in play right here. I mean, because there's nothing particularly interesting about Barack Obama outside of the fact he was the first black man elected president of the United States. No small feat, okay? No small feat at all. But I mean, there's no substance, an empty suit. When given a good script, he can read it from the teleprompter. I'll give him that. But there's no substance there. But what they're doing is and it's no surprise that during this turbulent post-election period that his autobiography comes out, as if to somehow still the waters and show the juxtaposition between calm and certitude to chaos. Okay, I mean it's really a media gambit right here, and of course the people in the left media love it. Okay. And for anyone that's not leftist, if you ever get a copy of it, it's a good doorstop, okay? Because I think it's 700 something pages, okay? But so Obama Rama drama, and I think we're going to create that as a separate topic here on the Gaggle, because I have this suspicion, George, we're going to be hearing from this man for at least 25 more years.
Yes, that's a true nightmare to look forward to. I agree entirely. Trump is a self-promoter. He has been that ever since he first emerged on the public scene in the 1970s. I mean, that's his business model. I mean, that's how he gets people to hire him. That's how he gets people to stay at his hotels. That's how he sells his brand. People want to buy that brand, Trump. That's something different from Obama, because Obama really believes that he's some kind of a figure along the lines of Moses or Jesus or a figure of that magnitude. This is his third autobiography. The man, I don't think he's yet 60 years old. He hasn't really done very much in his life. I mean, he's been president, a very inconsequential president. But when you think of other political leaders, whether de Gaulle, Stalin, or Churchill, who were very consequential leaders, they did an awful lot in their lives. He really hasn't. I mean, he was eased into things. He had powerful people promoting him. He had big money behind him, and he got lucky. Every single opponent he ran against was extraordinarily weak. I mean, it happens. Sometimes you draw an inside straight. He got lucky. But the notion that he's in any way kind of a historical, consequential figure is entirely in his own mind. And of course, the media types who are, of course, in love with him because they love that kind of Ivy League kind of charmer. Much the way that they, the model of that was the idolatry that was extended to JFK. A very ordinary person, nothing special, was not an inconsequential president, wasn't all that smart, much like Obama's not really that smart. But the media loved it. They loved that whole preppy, Ivy League manner, kind of slightly self-disparaging. And this is whom they identify with. This is whom they want to be. And so while they may not buy into the Obama identification as Moses or Jesus, they do love him. And what we've seen during the past week is a quite nauseating, slobbering, and sycophancy that I think would be embarrassing in North Korea, let alone anywhere else.
Yeah, and the issue of authenticity is really front and center right there because again, I can understand, and we've said this for years. I can understand why people hate Donald Trump. I get it. You don't have to convince me, but you can't claim he isn't authentic. Okay, it's an authenticity that either you appreciate or you don't appreciate. Okay, but I always felt with Obama is that it's a con. He wants to convince you of his greatness. But if you have to convince someone that you're great, then you're by definition aren't great. Okay?
Right.
And that's what it gets down to. What's one of your thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, my thumbs up, for once, the thumbs up was the performance of Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri during the cross-examination of the two tech titans, Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey, who both came across as very, very creepy individuals. I mean, we think of Henry Ford, but these people are truly creepy. A very weird person. But what was interesting during the cross-examination by Hawley is that he actually got Zuckerberg to admit that there was collusion between the internet giants. So Facebook, Twitter, Google collude. And they collude, Zuckerberg wanted to suggest that they were colluding only about security issues. Oh, how do we keep child pornographers off, as if this is this vast issue. No, they were colluding about content. They were colluding about whom to deplatform and whom to censor. And that was a very, very damaging exchange. Because this time they can have these internet giants in their sight that this is a violation of antitrust. They pretty much dominate the entire internet industry, the platform industry. And if they collude as to whom they want to deplatform, whom they just want to silence, then this raises antitrust issues and First Amendment issues because they're a monopoly. And I thought that this was a very interesting exchange. I mean, Hawley got this information from a whistleblower, but obviously this whistleblower knew what he was talking about because Zuckerberg immediately started squirming and had to admit that, yes, there was collusion. And so it seems like, Dorsey, it seems to me like an idiot. I mean, the extent to which he has been censoring people, deplatforming. I mean, you're going after the president of the United States. You're putting warning labels on his tweets. That's something Republicans are not going to forget. In fact, Trump voters are not going to forget. So even if Biden takes over in January and the Biden Justice Department does nothing, the Republicans haven't forgotten this. And when they capture the House in 2 years, they will hold hearings and get to essentially target the internet giants, so that the next time Republicans are in power, the DOJ will go after them. And I think and they've got them this time because I think, the internet giants weren't scared of Section 230. I think they felt that they were good with that. Antitrust is a pretty good one because that's been successful historically in America. I mean, it succeeded against John D. Rockefeller, AT&T. It succeeded against Microsoft. That's something that they have to be nervous about.
It's really interesting. I watched some of those hearings too, and just my impression is that this Dorsey and Zuckerberg actually run their own companies. You came away with a very odd feeling. These things are massive, okay? And, Zuckerberg is the only person I've ever come across in media that never blinks his eyes. That kind of struck me as being a bit weird, but, maybe just as weird as the Rasputin beard, okay? Fine, you can look the way you want to look here. But you got the impression that these companies are bigger than their founders themselves, and that kind of leaves a very spooky feeling. Yeah, I don't know about the Section 230. I think there could be some movement on that. Well, everyone's focused in on the turbulence in the post-election environment, but we do have discussion in the DOJ about 230 and antitrust. So we'll see if that goes anywhere in the next administration. But that's a good thumbs up, thumbs down. Anything else?
Yeah, I thought that a kind of a minor thumbs down is that Kamala Harris, the media anointed vice president elect, sent out a tweet. I think it was yesterday, saying that, well, we're not getting any cooperation about the transition from the Trump administration. Can you please contribute some money into our transition team? So having a whip round from the public. Hey, can you give us some money? Now, when you think of the sort of the extraordinary fat cats, all the Wall Street types, the finance types, the internet types, who have been bankrolling Biden, and she has the nerve to go to the American public, hey, can you send a few dollars because we can't get the transition off the ground because Trump isn't giving us any money. I thought, if you think about chutzpah, that really is the very definition of chutzpah.
Yeah, if you just oppose that to what kind of transition the Trump people got in 2016, 2017, I mean, that is the most horrific transition probably in the entire history of the Republic, okay? Ask General Flynn what the transition was like, okay? So the gall of these people to suggest that there's something afoot right here. Yeah, it's a wrinkle. It's going to be worked out. Okay, I don't know why everyone's hair is on fire. All right, and then these security briefings and stuff and all that. I mean, as a candidate, they were given briefings. I don't think there's anything that's changed right now. I mean, I don't believe in their transparency whatsoever. It is just another one of their stratagems to criticize the current administration, which they should have a lot more deference to. They should have the deference that Obama never gave the Trump team.
Right. And as you mentioned, the security briefings, that was explicitly stated by Trump, which is, we're not going to give them security briefing because we think that they're Russian agents. And that's all there is. So the fact that they didn't get the security briefings, and so these complaints are indeed just about getting the media to keep writing these stories. Oh my God, they're not getting briefings. We're not getting a transition. This is terrible. This is, the Republic is about to fall because we're not getting. All these stories are just being drafted by the Democrats, and the media just faithfully report them.
It's interesting that you bring that up because Aaron Mate interviewed Rick Gates of the Manafort orbit, and it's on Aaron's YouTube page. Really quite interesting is what Rick Gates said, something I didn't know. There's actually a couple things in that interview that I didn't know, is that General Flynn, he knew the security briefings that he was being given to the Trump team were off. He said there's something wrong with these briefings. Okay, another reason why they hated General Flynn so much, because he could see what they were doing, and he was an intelligence officer veteran. He knew that something's fishy, something's afoot here with these briefings. Okay, and that infuriated the outgoing Obama people, and of course the FBI and the DOJ. So, I mean, now it kind of puts in more focus here. They really had it out for him personally.
Right. Yes, exactly. Because remember, first of all, they did that phony baloney investigation, claiming that he had gone to a dinner in Cambridge and had gone home with a Russian academic who had secret, intelligence connections. Complete nonsense. He never went home with this Russian academic. She had no intelligence connection. She's just simply a Russian academic. But he provided them with an excuse to have an investigation into Flynn. And then when they said, look, finally the FBI said, we got nothing. There's nothing. There's no justification whatever to continue investigating him. Then they come up, the Logan Act. So let's keep the investigation going. He's violating the Logan Act. So this is the quality of the people who were in the Obama administration, and yet the media report it as if somehow they were starved by these kind of Hamlet-like figures or philosopher princes. So it really
And all of these people, the interesting thing is that Trump and his supporters have to pay for what they have done to the country for 4 years. But there's going to be no accountability for that transition in 2016, 2017 whatsoever. And that is the origins that dragged the country through a hoax for a good part of 4 years. No accountability there. And then now they're apparently searching for a crime, to prosecute, okay?
Right.
This whole idea of weaponizing the law, I don't see how you can go back because now it's just permanent payback. And Lady Justice is blind for a reason, but no longer, apparently.
Well, you can't, and of course, this is what what used to be the kind of the term third world countries are about, which is you win an election. What's the first thing you do? You prosecute the people who were your predecessors. That is known as not really accepting the democratic, peaceful transfer of power. Because it's just all about getting even with your political opponents, and of course. Yeah, that is one that everybody's going to get used to. So in doing this, of course, they're being extraordinarily short-sighted. But as I say, it goes back to these people really aren't very bright. They don't have the imagination that this is going to be turned against you. They just we're going to be in power forever, so we can just do what we like. So that's why today. Jack Dorsey at Twitter, whoever makes these decisions, has put a warning label on a tweet by the Daily Caller, which was kind of Tucker Carlson, he founded that, which basically pointed out that the New York Times, the Washington Post, been running with Russiagate for 4 years. So no reason for them now to tear their hair out about claims of election fraud. And then there's a little warning label issued by Twitter saying this claim is disputed by the New York Times and the Washington Post. And you think, well, who the hell cares whether the New York Times or Washington Post
going to bat for those news outlets?
Right. But what I'm saying is that it's so dumb. What Twitter is now doing is so stupid that it's right. Well, they're almost like cutting their own throats because it's so blatant the way they've intervened in the political process that they are extremely vulnerable. I mean, even John D. Rockefeller wasn't that explicit about interfering. I mean, he was just wanted to make as much money as possible. But you don't get involved in such an explicit way in domestic politics.
That's such an interesting observation, because when you think of the great titans of the past, the Carnegies and the Rockefellers and the Mellons, people like that, their prime directive was to become amazingly rich, and now you have this transformation of this very privileged wealthy elite. It's just that they're ideologically possessed. Okay, yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, if they continue down this path, they destroy the business model that they created. It's really bizarre, because I mean, when you look at someone like Rockefeller, he knew he was reviled. He knew it. He's one of the most reviled human beings in history. And what he did is that he turned around and just said to his descendants, "Give it away." Okay, give it away. Right. But what we see with these people, these privileged people, is that now we're going to transform the world in my image. That is something that you don't have usually came from the capitalist barons of the past. It's very interesting how this has turned out.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Which makes me think that they are in trouble. That this is not sustaining. They've gone so far. Become so extreme, really cross the red line in their activities that they've become very vulnerable. The Republicans will be back. They haven't forgiven or forgotten what they did in 2020, and there will be payback. and they don't have the time between now and then to give away their money and say, look at all these children's hospitals that we're financing, and look, this school for the blind, and and this hospital wing that we're building. There just isn't time, and I think that they will be in serious trouble with the next couple of years.
I think we both would agree, and our viewers, that the status quo is not tenable. So we'll see where it goes here. All right. Thanks for those thumbs up and thumbs down. And I want to thank everyone for watching here. And if you like this, please like, share, and subscribe, because the Gaggle has much more ahead.